But Gabe, if it works for you, we're just going to go ahead and
Scott's on the way, maybe.
Let's go.
Last week you talked about kind of turning the page, and you talked about kind of the first couple days of practice have been good.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you never know what's going to transpire from practice to a game. How pleased were you kind of how well y'all performed at Furman?
I thought it was a big, step for us to take, good practice and then do it under pressure. It's always different on a Saturday afternoon, night, doesn't matter, especially when you're on the road against a good team that's well coached, that's won a lot of close games in the last 2 years. So for me, that was really, it's just growth is the biggest word I guess I can think of in my mind to say, hey, look, we're not just immature in our approach, we're not just immature in our results. But we were able to sustain performance, we were able to hang in there. It was not pretty the whole time, but we really challenged the guys to stand toe-to-toe and not back down. And really that's not just a physical thing, it's a mindset. And throughout the game, even when we were down at times, we just were confident. And, hey, what's the next thing? And so that was really encouraging to see, and just the ability to finish the game the right way. Okay, we get the ball back, and we're able to score and get the field goal, to put us up 4. We stop them in 4 plays, get the ball back. Hey, we know we got to run it. They know we got to run it. My mom in the stands, who doesn't like football, knows that we got to run it, and we're able to run it and finish, on the field. Was just, I don't know, it was very awesome for our players, and awesome for us as a staff to see.
Going off a confident thing, how much do you think Saturday's win gives y'all confidence going into Richmond?
I hope we just keep continuing to build. I mean, whenever you're able to kind of do something for the first time with a young group, I think it should give you confidence. Now, it doesn't mean that the work, subsides. You still have to have the same mindset and go prove it throughout the week. But I think just in general, we played 15 D linemen. I think all of those guys grew in their mindset, right? I think, up front, we were able to run the ball, at over 4.5 yards a carry, take the sacks out and one snap over our head, right? We were able to run the ball way more effectively. And so to me, that's just signals that say, hey, look, these guys are really believing in what we're doing and coming into their own. And they believe it in themselves that they can go get it done.
You kind of touched on this, but first win over a ranked team since 2016 in FCS.
Sure.
What does that say just about the team that y'all have here?
I just think it means that we beat Furman. You know what I'm saying? Certainly didn't talk to the team about it before the game. Didn't even know it was a stat until after the game. I appreciate our great sports information director, Michael, pointed it out to me because certainly it's something worth celebrating and noting. But now it's, hey, it's on to the next page against a good team from a great conference who's made a lot of deep runs in the playoffs and has a team that has a lot of age on it, especially on defense. And, so we're on to Richmond.
Whether it's Rob, it's Chris, or receiver, I mean, you have a number of transfers or new guys. I think Tyson redshirted.
Yeah.
Obviously, a number of new guys. How do you think they kind of fit in and kind of gel with what you have here?
Well, I think anytime you take some transfers, you're worried about, like, are we going to be a selfless player? It's kind of like, do I need to get a certain amount of catches or targets or whatever? Do we need to throw the ball X number of times? And all these guys are so thankful to be at Charleston Southern. And we didn't have one guy after the game sulking because, they didn't have the same number of catches as the last week or play the same number of plays on defense. So to me, it's awesome to see Jamil Bishop, who was a great Division II player, come here. And after the game, he's sitting on the little ramp and he's just looking at the scoreboard. I sit down beside him and he goes, Coach, this was awesome. And I'm thinking, how many passes did he catch? I think he caught 2. You know what I'm saying? And it was just awesome to say, hey, look, I don't even care. Chris Rome doesn't care. Noah Jennings doesn't care. What they care about is winning. And so, to me, that is the right kind of recipe for the team to be successful.
Looking at stats, it looked like Furman had, more yards of total offense, more first downs. For y'all to still win this game when you're not winning those kind of margins, what were y'all doing right, you think, that they weren't?
Well, I think the turnovers were obviously massive to get 4 of those in the game. I think we executed a little bit better on third down than they did. And we just took advantage of what was there. We made some really big plays. It was, more about answering when they hit us, and we didn't. I haven't seen us do that really. So for me, that was a huge part of the game.
When you look at Richmond, I guess shame on Walker for beating them so you can't not win. Looking at Richmond, kind of what is the biggest challenge that the Spiders present?
I think they're extremely experienced. I think they understand how to win close games. They've been in a money game so far, and then they didn't play as well as we know they're capable of playing. So I think they're going to be extremely motivated to get out there and to play. For us, it's just about making ourselves the most important team and worrying about Charleston Southern and what we have to do to continue to get better.
Your punter had a good week. How big of an emphasis is special teams for y'all usually in practice, that kind of thing? Are you one of those guys that really harps on special teams?
100%. We want to, we say that special teams provides a winning edge around here. We want to be dominant on fourth down. We don't want to just win fourth down. So for Gil, who I've known Gil a long time, super person. He's a great athlete. He had the 2-point fake in the game too. Where he's like almost running a guy over. Not many punters can do that. He's a special athlete, but he's also a special person. And so he can be emotional talking about Gil here. Was a really good player for us in Georgia. So to have him here now is like, it's like a little bit of a warm blanket at a hospital, right? It just makes you feel good.
You say emotional, do y'all go back far? Or what?
Yeah, we recruited him out of high school, his dad passed away while he was in high school. He's just a good story, great mom, and he just impacts our specialist group. He's a strong Christian. He's not trying to be, sort of about his faith. He's really genuine, and he's super talented. I mean, he crushed the ball, and I don't know, it's fun to be around people with great energy like that.
In this day and age of college football, I mean, you're seeing D2 guys all over the place playing at the D1 level and playing really well at the D1 level. How much does that help a school like you that you can kind of open your eyes to all sorts of players with the transfer portal being so prevalent?
I mean, we have to know our niche, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get just tons of guys coming down. We get more guys that come up, and it's about, to be honest with you, it's about improving their situation, right? A lot of those guys are on partial scholarships. They're good players. But Gil, Jamil Bishop, receiver, Jalen Pugh, defensive tackle, and Jacoby North, those are all either D2 or NAIA football players, and they're starters for us now. And they're good players. They've added maturity, but it's about them getting here and fitting in with our locker room. And that doesn't work every single time. We're not perfect at that. But those 4 guys in particular, and we have some others, Chris Rohn, super beat up at Coastal. David Portu was a walk-on there. Now he's a scholarship guy for us. I mean, those 6 guys, man. Those are good players, but those are good people, and they love putting on the blue and gold, and they love their teammates. That's the best part of it.
Do you think that it's like guys that were on partial or were walk-ons and now they're scholarship guys here that they just appreciate it more? Like there's a different level of, you're playing NAIA ball and whatever, nobody knows, but now you're at Division I and you're playing on TV and you're playing nationally ranked teams. Do you think they just have a better appreciation for their opportunity?
I think they really enjoy the fact that they get to go to school for free. And I do think that, hey, look, we have a nice locker room. We got a great training room situation. It's better than where they've been. And and being a former D2 guy myself, I've walked in some of those hallways. Yeah, it's nicer, we get to wear Nike shorts here, not, Russell Athletic or BSN or anything like that, right? So to be able to spoil them a little bit, it makes them feel good. But the bigger part is they get to play the game that they love on a bigger stage. like you just said. And so certainly I think they are enjoying their blessing, and we're glad to give it to them.
Do we know how many guys on your roster right now that were not here last year? Is there
That's a good question.
I think it's 44.
I was gonna say it's in the 40s.
It's a lot of new players.
So
that I can
my
tell you-
point is, a lot of new players, and you're talking about having to make sure they fit. That's a lot of fitting to do. I mean,
Culture is not a thing, it's the thing.
Right.
It takes time to build, and it is easy to erode. And it's about consistency. I think I learned that from the culture master. I don't think anybody does it better than Jamie. But you have to be yourself too, and I'm certainly not Jamie Chadwell. I think I'm much more handsome, but whatever. But our coaches are certainly different than that group as well, and times have changed. So, it takes hard work, and it's the scheme is a scheme, and all that is important, but it's about the interpersonal relationships and spending the time every day with these guys. It's eating lunch at the cafeteria. Man, that is just as important as getting in there and talking about blocking and tackling, and we major in it. We let's go to the lunch, all right, except on Tuesdays when I get to see you guys, and let's go be a part of these guys' lives, because you just don't know till you sit down and break a little bread with people.
I was going to ask you about this. You brought up Jamie, but we haven't asked you the past 2 weeks. Are you all still playing for a trophy each week?
Oh, absolutely. We played for the Gritstone last week. Okay, it looks a little like a hockey puck, but we just said, hey, this team needs to show some grit. And there's a roughing stage, there's a sharpening stage, and then there's a finishing stage. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Coach Duncan, who was a Furman grad, he was the coach of the week. Man, he really, just gave the message to the guys, because grit is really hard to measure. But we talked about passion and perseverance and living life like a marathon. And so if you can do those things, and you can do those things for 4 quarters, hey, you can have grit on a Saturday night, right? But now it's about turning that into the next week. It's in the trophy case now. Coach Duncan can walk back on Furman's campus with a smile on his face amongst his teammates. So we gave him the game ball after the game. And obviously, it's a pretty sweet win for him personally.
How much of a difference is it? I mean, if you go from, a nice win against Furman, but if you beat Richmond, that's a really good pre-conference schedule. Like,
sure.
How much do your guys kind of buy into that? Like, you guys could really do something special if it's Furman and then Richmond before your conference.
Sure. I think we really we just try to make it a little bit smaller, to be honest with you, and just say, hey, one at a time. Hey, we got to go on the road. It's a longer trip this week. And it's against a really good team from a very, very good conference. I mean, we all know the Coastal, I think it is now, the old Colonial Athletic Conference is really good in football. And so I think they know that in the back of their mind. Sometimes I think with a young team, you're trying to simplify and just make it about, hey, improvement. But we certainly know they're a good football team.
Was that kind of some of the message this week that obviously the Furman game in the past and doesn't mean anything going into this week?
You think I'm boring and repetitive, but I literally got their notebooks out and had them turn the page again. You know what I'm saying? I said, hey guys, look, that one was good, that one was great. You feel much better now. But it's time to turn the page. It's on to another good team. And it's about the preparation and putting the time in this week and filling our tank so that we can go empty our tank on Saturday.
You talked earlier about just culture and kind of the fellowship of this team, but is that something you recruit when you look for guys? Like, are you looking specifically for kind of the heart in the player? Because I know that's something you can't teach.
It's 100% something we're trying to evaluate. It is probably the most difficult thing to evaluate, but we want guys who are gym rats. We want guys that are overachievers. And sometimes that means that we change the position. A lot of our tight ends didn't play tight end in high school. Some of our offensive linemen, they weren't linemen in high school, they were D linemen. But finding that mindset and finding what fits here. Not everything fits at CSU. And I've certainly taken guys off of the board every single year, and I said, you know what, that's not going to fit us. If this guy's antics on the sideline in a blowout, or that's why we got to go watch people play, by the way, or in a loss, he's showing up his team. We watched a kid last week, okay, acting a fool on the sideline. Good player, took him off the list. So certainly that's something that we're trying to evaluate.
You don't have a Flow Sports subscription, do you?
No, I usually watch Flow Sports stuff for their YouTube stuff on college wrestling, because I'm a college wrestling junkie. So,
Why are you a college wrestling junkie?
I mean, I grew up in State College, Pennsylvania, so it was really, wrestling was pretty important then. Now my kids are in it. We got to play those sports where like height doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? My kids, they pick up a basketball, I just knock it out of their hand all the time. So soccer, wrestling, cross country, yeah, that's our thing. Certainly have gotten into Cale Sanderson and what they're doing up there with that culture and how they recruit. And I mean, talk about dominant now. It's a different kind of dominant.
Did you stay up to 2 in the morning to watch Jamie's ending there?
You know, I was watching on the bus, and I literally passed out. I think I did him a favor. I watched. They were losing. I got on the floor, changed the lucky spot, fell asleep. They won. So, you know, hey, sometimes you got to change your mojo.
So it's all thanks to you.
Yeah, I had a little spat on Twitter because this guy comes on Twitter. I don't even know how he got on my timeline, but it was about Liberty. They were losing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this.
Right.
But they were losing. And he was like, this loss is solely on Jamie Chadwell, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I was looking through the scores and I was like, well, they won the game.
They were ripping him on ESPN because the big running back, the guy who was like the conference player of the year last year, he wasn't running it very much. He was kind of spreading it around, and they just kept saying, feed the beast, and finally the last drive, he fed the beast, and the guy ran for that 40-yard touchdown.
Well, this guy that I don't even know, I responded and I was like, pardon me. I was like, didn't they win? And he was like, no, they lost. And I'm like, no, they won. I was like, you're a Liberty. He's got flame in his little thing. I said, you're a Liberty guy. You didn't even know they won the game. I said, you're not a good fan. You turned it off.
That's right.
And so now you block me.
Coach,
But I don't even know how he ended up on my timeline. I don't follow it. I don't know
Who knows?
how that works.
You ready for batting time?
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.